What's up, explorers? So, after my last couple videos, I made a promise to myself. I said, Smodora, one of these days, you're gonna make another video about something you like, and you're gonna share it with the class. And boys and girls, today is not that day. Because I've remembered, or rather discovered, a goldmine of shows that I think need to be discussed. So grab your pickaxe and a canary, because we're about to go deep into the mines that are the Discovery Channel. Also, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, take a moment to fondle that big, juicy subscribe button. Subscribing to this channel is the best way to support the content you're watching, and it ensures there'll be more content in the future. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. What the frick happened to the Discovery Channel? It used to be this amazing educational channel that literally inspired a generation to explore a career in science and medicine. I don't know when the light switched, but these days, every show on the Discovery Channel is shock value, sensationalized trash. No, trash is too kind of a word. The Discovery Channel these days is more like a hippo having explosive diarrhea, and said hippo is releasing its bowels right on nearby children's faces who represent a generation of future scientists and doctors. Yeah. That's how I would describe the Discovery Channel's current programs. Seriously though, look at these hippo shit shows. Alaskan Bush People, Curse of the Bermuda Triangle, Diesel Bros, Diesel Nation, Moonshiners, Naked and Afraid, Surviving Joe Exotic, Undercover Billionaire. I know the Discovery Channel being hippo crud isn't anything new, but it always baffles me whenever I think about it. Like, were Discovery's executives just sitting around one day saying, you know, science and facts are neat and all, but you know what's even neater? Money at the expense of our reputation. It's unsurprising that a lot of Discovery shows these days are riddled with controversies. And in today's video, I want to discuss one of the most controversial shows that Discovery ever aired. And that show is Eaten Alive. The premise for the show is to have this dude hunt and capture a green anaconda, and then literally be eaten by it in an attempt to raise awareness about the deforestation of the Amazon rainforest.
So a bunch of guys sitting around a table trying to come up with crazy ideas for a television special, and someone says, I know, maybe we could have a guy eaten by a snake pass the bong? How does that go?
It actually started with...
Yep, listen, I want to save the Amazon rainforest too. But I'm almost certain there are a bajillion better ways to raise awareness about this issue. Right? Okay, you do you.
I think if Paul does get constricted by the anaconda, the snake grabs hold of him and wraps around him, then that's potentially an incredibly dangerous situation.
Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate this man's eyebrow game? Like, holy damn. I don't know why Paul feels the need to save the Amazon when he's got two luscious rainforests on his very own brow. Let's start at the top and learn about Paul's motives behind this grand idea that'll almost certainly, without a doubt, save the Amazon. I mean, maybe he's got other reasons for doing what he's about to do. So his first motive behind this, which I briefly touched upon, is to raise awareness and stop the deforestation of the Amazon.
Another reason I'm doing this is because the West Amazon is in crisis. This environment is being torn apart by mining, illegal logging, and rampant deforestation.
He wants people to see that these giants are out there. You know, he wants to bring conservation efforts here, and he knows that he can only do that by showing people something so incredible that people are just like, we need to do something about this now.
I want to do something that's just going to grab people's attention.
As you can see, he truly believes this is the best way to raise awareness for this cause. I'm not saying his cause isn't noble or brave, but it sure is fucking stupid. I hope Discovery paid you a pretty penny for all this, Paul. At least you can tell Paul and his crew really care about conservation and preserving this beautiful jungle.
I think if Paul does get constricted by the anaconda...
So that's Paul's first motive. His second motive is to find one specific green anaconda that he refers to as Chumana.
Its name is Chumana, which means snake maiden,
which can only be found in a specific, very remote location called the Floating Forest. I guess he had an altercation with this snake in the past, and now he's got some petty personal vendetta against this one snake in particular.
Several years ago, I was in the Floating Forest with my friend JJ. We encountered the biggest anaconda I've ever seen. second the snake saw me, I dove onto its back. This thing almost dragged me to the bottom of the floating forest. So I had no choice. I had to let go.
Sounds like to me you aggravated the snake by jumping on its defenseless back. If you ask me, his story doesn't really add up. I think Paul's got the one that got away dilemma with this snake Chumana, and he thinks of himself as the nice guy who just needs to be given a chance. Paul, let me be honest with you, I don't think she's interested in you or your rainforest eyebrows.
Ever since that time, I've been trying to find her again.
He tries to distract the viewers from his lust for Chumana by saying he's doing this for scientific research.
I'm going to discover exactly how powerful these creatures really are.
So we're actually going to allow a snake to wrap around me, to constrict me, and for the first time ever,
Using a one-of-a-kind suit, we'll be able to measure the incredible constriction strength of a really, truly large anaconda.
Maybe that's true, lover boy, and I'm no herpetologist, nor am I an engineer, but I'm certain you could have thought of another method for measuring a snake's strength that doesn't involve a human being consumed whilst wearing a fancy suit.
The one-of-a-kind suit was constructed by a team of renowned engineers.
I seriously wonder how much that suit cost. So, those are Paul's motives for doing this. Now that we understand Paul's totally sane reasoning, let's go through the show as Paul searches for his long-lost love.
Okay, Paul, it's bizarre. It's completely bizarre.
We start off with Paul and his ragtag crew already deep in the Amazon.
Ciao, Pico!
Also, I'd like to point out that Paul brought his wife with him on this adventure, but I'm not sure he had the heart to tell her she's about to become obsolete as his wife. You're better than him anyways. Almost immediately they find an anaconda and wrangle that bitch into submission.
Well done, guys.
Oh yeah, got him. Show's over, folks. Time to take this baby home and put a ring on her.
To the layman, she's a big anaconda, but we're going to find here what we know lives here. We're talking many times bigger than her.
Oh, okay, well there's no need to body shame her. I guess this isn't the snake loving Paul's looking for, so they take some samples and they move on. Next they have a campfire storytelling session where they talk about all the local legends of the green anaconda.
My sister-in-law, she lost her dad. She's not very far from the floating forest. He was washing himself and then suddenly disappeared. The community member looked for the body more than 15 days and never found. And we reckon it's a giant anaconda who comes to the floating forest.
I believe JJ's account because I had my hands on a giant snake in the floating forest. Possibly the same one that the locals talk about. So I know there's some truth to these snake legends.
Oh, really, Paul? Let's just take a look-see here. Yeah, no.
These legends are rooted in reality.
So, this is exactly why I find shows like this and all of the modern Discovery Channel shows really frustrating. Discovery already does sharks dirty with their annual Shark Week, and this is the exact same issue. They sensationalize sharks and label them as dangerous creatures, when in reality, sharks almost never attack humans. And of course, now sharks are critically endangered. So why do they have to do anacondas dirty too? Like, come fucking on, Discovery. Paul claims he wants to preserve the Amazon, but I think he's doing more harm than he realizes by spreading misinformation and literally putting a target on the green anaconda's back. It's ironic, really.
So I know a lot about the species, and I know how scared people are of giant snakes.
As they trek forward, they run into some very dangerous and life-threatening wildlife.
Watch out.
Why?
A snake?
It's a low thing.
Oh, well, in addition to logs, they have their first encounter with an electric eel.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
You talking about you getting bitten by something? Or?
No, not big, but
Feels like a jolt or something.
Is it his leg?
I just got that too. Guys, just do not move. There's probably an eel, like an electric eel right near here. Do not move, do not move.
Oh my God.
Those things could be fatal. You gotta stop.
You never actually see the eel, or any sign of it for that matter, so I have to wonder if they just made this whole thing up to keep viewers engaged.
Thankfully,
That caiman was clearly just minding its own business, and they probably just poked it to get a reaction on camera. Speaking of caiman, after the electric eel encounter, they come across a river that's full of these buggers.
it's kind of a risk crossing here, but I don't want to add another day of travel. So if everybody feels comfortable with it, I would like to just cut right over to there.
Again, they try to make a bigger deal than it actually is as they cross the river in their little boats with ease.
Folks, this one is black.
And then Paul says this.
I'll never swim in a lake in the Amazon.
I want you to remember this quote for later, okay? I promise we'll come back to it. After they cross Cayman River, they come across a big chonker of a tree, and they make camp for the night. In the downtime, the show tries to backtrack on Paul's ridiculous claims about snake attacks.
The internet is full of images and stories of people being eaten by snakes. And the vast majority of those, of course, are hoaxes.
But then immediately throw all that out the window by talking about a maybe, possibly, very real story of a Malaysian man who was eaten by a snake.
It was in 1995 in Malaysia. A rubber plantation worker, E. Heng Xuan, went on an errand. When he had not returned, his brother came across a horrific scene where a massive reticulated python was engulfing the head of his brother.
Moving on, they finally reach the floating forest. They're here during mating season because they believe it'll be the best time of the year to find the snake.
This forest is also ideal for snakes to breed in isolation. Anacondas form breeding balls, a reptilian orgy where up to a dozen males converge on the much larger female to mate in one spot for weeks at a time.
Snake orgy, huh? Seems oddly convenient. I think this just solidifies my theory that Paul's just here for some hot snake sex. As Paul searches for his honey, he borrows a drone from his camera crew to get a bird's eye view of the area.
This thing is gonna see everything.
Oh, something just moved.
Where?
Right over there. There was a huge ripple.
Can you come lower here? This definitely looks like something.
Sorry, but where? I must be blind because I don't see shit. Of course, this amounts to nothing, and they are nowhere closer to finding Chumana.
The strenuous search for Chumana is beginning to take a toll on the team.
Is that with a machete?
Oh man, that's a big one.
The jungle eventually consumes everything, including your skin.
I think I have something strange in my foot. Nematodes.
Paul's still thinking with his snake, so he decides to take a huge risk and search for Chumana at night. This guy is so desperate for snake that he's willing to risk the lives of his entire team for it.
Wandering spider. It's really aggressive.
Watch it! Oh! Quick! JJ, get back. There's a big venomous snake sitting right there.
This is one of the most venomous snakes in the world.
Guys. It's moving.
Again, they're left empty-handed, and the sun rises to a new dawn.
The next day.
And Paul's feeling particularly confident about today's hunt.
For the last few days, it's been significantly colder than anything's used to in the jungle. We get this mountain air that blows into the lowlands. We call it friaje. In terms of a large reptile, they haven't been getting the solar heat they need for their energy. So they're gonna be out here looking to charge up today. Conditions couldn't be better.
And believe it or not, they actually find an anaconda. So they try to catch it as calmly and humanely as possible.
Go. Quick. I'm coming. Catch it. I got the head! Oh my God.
This poor snake. She was just minding her own business, soaking up that good sun, when all of a sudden she's jumped by multiple grown men and shoved into a boat. The poor thing was definitely traumatized by all this.
This is the queen of the Amazon.
And after all this, it's still not big enough.
This snake still isn't the one that we're looking for. Chumana was at least 6 to 9 feet bigger, easily double the weight.
and she had darker scales, almost black.
This isn't Paul's future wife, Chumana, so in his eyes this snake is trash. But don't worry, Paul's confident he's gonna find his queen and they'll live happily ever after.
We're here to catch the biggest snake on Earth, and this snake is still a few feet shy of that. I know that Chumana is out there. All I have to do now is find her.
As Paul's horniness reaches unmanageable levels, he's starting to get pretty desperate, so he decides to do this.
If you're gonna catch the biggest snake in the world, you gotta be able to push it a little bit.
Good luck out there.
Here I go.
Paul, be careful.
Alright, remember that quote I told you to keep in your back pockets?
I'll never swim in the lake in the Amazon.
Well, I guess that was a fucking lie. This man will do anything for that snake. But just when all hope is lost,
Massive anaconda. I think it was at least 25 feet. Right across my shoulder, too. Definitely one of the scariest experiences in my life, being underwater in those grass mats. Just as I was about to come up and resurface, I saw something huge and scaled slap against my arm.
you literally can't see shit in those waters, but for some reason, he's convinced that this is Chumana. Seems pretty fake to me, but for Paul, that's not enough. In the next scene, they try to convince the audience even further by claiming they found Chumana slithering by the trap camera.
Look at it, right in front of the camera trap.
Is it just me, or does this clip look altered? Look at how that shadow moves in the snake's body. I'm pretty sure shadows don't work like that. They probably just hired some VFX artists to put that in post. Of course, that's not convincing enough for Paul's ego to handle, so they do one more night hunt.
She's probably right underneath me right now.
It's going. Hold on. Pull back. Oh my God. You got it? Yeah.
I know it was dark, but did any of you see a snake? I sure didn't.
It looked at me, saw me, went straight down. If I had gotten like 2 feet of her tail, it would have been one thing, but I mean, there was no chance. And it just like took me and ripped me straight down. Holy that was the snake.
Okay, buddy. Sure, if that helps you sleep at night. So after all that, they just give up hunting for Paul's snake bride.
The rainy season has arrived, making it much too dangerous for Paul's team to continue their quest for Chumana.
So sad. I guess you'll just have to stick with your boring, vanilla human wife. But even though the hunt's over, the wildest part of the show is just beginning. You know, the whole reason they set out in the first place. And Paul's got a new fancy suit to try out.
Paul knows of only one other giant anaconda who can match Chumana. A 20-foot, 230-pound beast with a reputation for being one of the largest and most aggressive Peruvian green anacondas ever captured.
Let me get this straight. They already had access to a giant green anaconda capable of consuming an adult human. So then why the fuck did they go through that elaborate excursion to find another snake?
Paul has been obsessed with capturing this legendary beast.
Oh, right. But even with that in mind, what would they have done if they had caught Chumana? They hiked for days to get out there, so I can't imagine they'd carry a 30-foot anaconda back with them. Were they gonna have it airlifted out? I just have so many questions. Anyway, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for Paul to consummate his marriage with his backup bride.
I really smell like dinner to this animal.
Paul has a dedicated team at his side to make sure, you know, he doesn't die. And Paul's human wife is here too, to watch, utterly horrified from the sidelines.
It'll make me feel better if I'm looking at his vital signs and what's going on.
After they get him all set up, Paul's still not happy.
What I need to be able to do is kneel down and work with the snake. I can't do that right now.
Like, what mobility do you need? You literally just have to lie there and get eaten. I'm sure the less you struggle, the easier it'll be for both you and the snake.
Taking these things off, my arms and legs are exposed, so if I get into a bad situation, the blood loss and the possibility of a broken bone are two very serious threats, but my vitals will still be protected. The snake can't crush my rib cage, can't break my neck.
This dude's a moron, and he's about to lose all his limbs. So Paul pops some Viagra, and now it's time for some softcore snake fetish porn. Oh wait, something's wrong though.
Guys, my face is down. I can't feel my arm. She's squeezing hard. My arm's parking. Thing's gonna break. We're calling it. We're going. Let's go.
All right. Watch it. Watch it. Get his helmet off.
Body armor off first.
Oh, so that's it then? We're done? I wonder if he would have backed out if he was being lovingly embraced by Chumana and not this phony. He makes it out with a few scratches on his arm, but he's fine. What a colossal failure this all was. They should have called this show Man Attempts to Be Eaten Alive, because that's really all that happened. But I guess that title isn't punchy enough for Discovery. And in the end, they have the audacity to try and spin this another way.
The largest force ever recorded from an anaconda is 90 pounds per square inch. We tested the suit to over 300 pounds per square inch. But the way that suit was flexing, if she had constricted 100% on the sensor, it would have crashed any records taken before.
Mission accomplished, boys.
Now that I know that this suit can withstand the crush, we're ready to take this to a real giant.
Whatever, Paul. So, in the end, this entire mission, start to finish, was a complete failure. They didn't find Chumana, or even a snake larger than 20 feet, and then in the end, Paul chickens out at the very last second, while his snake lady tries to eat him. So yeah, a catastrophic failure if I ever saw one. Even if Paul did let the snake eat him, then what?
His only way out will be if the snake regurgitates him.
Good plan, guys. Let a snake eat Paul and hope it'll regurgitate him. Brilliant. Unsurprisingly, this show got a ton of criticism. It was widely criticized for false advertising, considering the show's title and the fact that nothing was eaten alive in any capacity.
Even though it seems like your heart is in the right place here, you're trying to preserve the forest, there are a lot of people saying this is not the way to go about it. PETA, the folks at PETA, I'm paraphrasing, say this is basically harming this snake and you shouldn't be doing this.
Some people are saying, okay, an anaconda expends all this energy to ingest something of your size and then ultimately gets no meal. Is that harmful to the snake?
They're absolutely correct. These snakes went through so much and for nothing. And did this show really help people say, wow, look at the lengths this guy will go to protect the Amazon? Time to do something. I'm inclined to say no. I'll just take a few minutes and find some good organizations that are actually trying to protect the Amazon. Boom, there they are. If at least one person watches this video and donates to any of these organizations, I'll feel like I made a greater impact on the Amazon than Paul or Discovery ever did. Although, if Discovery had never produced Eaten Alive, then I never would have made this video and... Whoa! I think I just got played, guys. Damn, Paul got me good. That was a big brain move there. You got me, man. Mission accomplished. The Amazon's saved.
Let's use the riches that God gave us for the well-being of our population.